The knife we're talking about here today is the Spyderco Para 3 in Rex 45 CPM Rex 45, the cobalt enhanced version of M3. Now for size comparisons, we have Spyderco Rhino, followed by the ever so fancy Cold Steel Mini Recon drop point A.S.O.K.A steel. And for you custom knife fans out there, we have Damascus drip tie from Brian Tie. Alright, let's talk about this knife. This knife, very impressive steel. Everybody knows about the Para 3. I shouldn't have to go through all the length of the blade or the handle, and overall it's pretty much the same thing. Now there are some differences with this steel. For one, and I'll use my Para 3 in S90V as a comparison, the grain, how it finishes. Now these are supposed to simulate the same finish, but if I were to take a piece of paper and have my nail kind of stick out, if you can hear the sound on the S90V, doesn't really have much of a sound. A little bit, but not too much, compared to the Rex 45. Now I don't know if you could actually pick up the sound, but the sound is similar, and the texture is similar to a nylon sheet. Now, when it comes to the action of the Rex 45, it's not like the S90V that simply, like, you know, compress the lock and it simply drops down, or even with the M4, compress the lock, have it at a certain height, and it'll actually drop down. With this one, completely compressing the lock in whatever angle, the blade doesn't drop. Action's still a little bit stiff on this one, but it's slowly loosening up. The blade's centered, no problems there. Comes in a burnt orange. You can see that burnt orange, not a bright orange, but a orange with a light level of tone that kind of gives you the indication that it's burnt. I have some footage of this thing cutting, and I'm going to show that to you right about now, and you see the shavings before the footage. Not all of it belongs to the Rex 45 Para 3. But you can see that it's going through wood. The wood that is going through is a reclaimed lumber, piece of reclaimed lumber, over 100 years old. And I'm not exaggerating, it's literally over 100 years old. Piece of reclaimed lumber from a barn, and very hard wood. And yeah, you see it go through it. and you'll also see some footage of it later on in that same footage, cutting through hair right after going through that hardened wood. And then we get back to going over here. There's also footage of the M4 in this particular finish that you see here, that mirror finish edge. Have some footage of that going through the wood. Now this M4 Para 3 is basically, like, I've gone through wood with it previously, so you'll see me go through wood, and after going through that wood, it too will also still cut through hair. And so I'm very excited to see how these two pair up, and it's mostly because, like, you know, Rex 45, if you look at the composition, it's literally a cobalt enriched version of M3, you know, M4's older brother. Cobalt enriched version of M3. And I want to see how these two stack up. I'm going to do a steel clash video very soon against pairing the two together. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resharpen the M4 because it's already gone through wood and everything else. I'm going to resharpen the Rex 45 because that already went through some wood, and it's still sporting the manufacturer's edge. I'm going to sharpen to both steels the exact same way and see which one really stacks up, which one surpasses the other. Because when I looked at Big Brown Bear's video on, like, comparing the two steels, the particular test that he used, I mean, you're talking about two very tough steels, fairly tough steels, in a prying test using the edge over brass. Prying, like having the edge dig into brass and then pry the shaving out. Now, in that particular case, two different steels, one's rock weld higher than the other. That, obviously, the steel with the higher rock weld, and of course with significant assistance with cobalt, is going to outlast the one with significantly less cobalt, if in fact virtually no cobalt, and smaller, lower rock weld hardness. My test is to go through these two in a way that I would, because I'm no stranger to putting my folding knives up against wood. I'm definitely not going to see myself, like, you know, putting it up against malleable alloys such as brass, copper, or aluminum, but wood is definitely a plus for me if it can go through those. So yeah, be on the lookout for the steel clash video between M4 and Rex 45. Alright people, I'm out.